This is an ATUMTEK floating action cam hand grip. I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you about $15. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinions remain my own. Alright, so in the box we get this hand grip, and it's hollow and it's full of air, so it has some buoyancy. It includes a wrist strap here with this little guy that you can tighten up so it makes it hard to drop. And if you do drop it with your action cam on the water, the idea is it has enough buoyancy to float with this red part visible in the water so it doesn't sink. And it comes with your typical kind of action cam mount screw 3-prong thing here. So it has a nice kind of foam rubber grip. It feels pretty good in your hand. So basically, I guess the real question is, will it float my action cam? And I'm specifically testing this with the DJI Action 5 camera. Alright, so this is what it looks like mounted. It's definitely a little top heavy because this guy is so lightweight and hollow, where the action cam has most of the density in it there. This guy is rated to 20 meters waterproof by itself as long as these doors are closed. So supposedly I don't need a waterproof shell around it. So this entire package is weighing in at about 8.4 ounces or 238 grams. So the action camera is 172 of those grams, whereas the handle here is only 65 grams. Alright, so let's see how well this guy floats. Alright, it may be neutrally buoyant, but it's not floating. No, it's going down. Alright, so let's see how well this guy floats. It may be neutrally buoyant, but it's not floating. No, it's going down. Alright, so this is a perfectly fine action cam handle. Has a pretty nice wrist system here. But it will not float my particular DJI 5 action camera, which currently weighs 173 grams. Now that weight might be because I have this aftermarket clip-on accessory here, which is aluminum. So I am going to try the provided DJI Action 5 magnetic mount. However, the thing here is adding 26 grams. I'm not sure I'm comfortable. It didn't have enough flotation. I want bonus flotation. I don't want it to be just enough. I want to really be able to float this guy. Alright, so the DJI provided mount is 16 grams. This guy's 26 grams. So basically there's a 10-gram difference there. And that might be the difference between floating and slowly sinking towards the floor of the ocean. So we are going to try this with the provided DJI Action Cam mount. However, in general, if a 10-gram difference is the difference, that's probably not enough buoyancy for me to be happy about this, because, if you get a piece of seaweed attached to this thing, or, anything touching it that adds 10 grams, that would not be great. So let's go try this guy with the DJI official magnetic mount. Alright, this package is 10 grams lighter with the use of the DJI official mount. And that does float. I'm going to release the wrist strap there, and that does float it. It's not a lot of excess buoyancy. It takes a while, so if you drop this thing down, it takes a decent amount of time for it to float up to the surface. So it is kind of right at the tipping point. And so if you had anything else attached to this guy, any accessories, piece of seaweed gets wrapped around it, it's not going to always bounce it up to the surface super fast. It takes a while. so I'm not really going to trust this guy. I mean, it's nice to have. It's a backup in case you drop it. I'm definitely think I'd be using the wrist strap a lot because it'll definitely potentially save you there if you drop it. It does float back up, but it's not a lot of excess buoyancy, as we saw with, you know, adding extra 10 grams of an aftermarket mount can change it. So definitely test it before you rely on it. So if you it takes a decent amount of time for it to float up to the surface. So all right, there's two different places in the manual here where it tells you to use the anti-lost wrist strap, and it says lost cameras are not covered under the warranty if you're not using the anti-lost wrist strap. All right, so if your action cam weighs 163 grams or less, this guy does provide buoyancy. It doesn't provide a lot of buoyancy. You know, I had an extra 10 grams with the aftermarket mount here and it sank. This is in fresh water, so in salt water it'll be a little bit more buoyant, so that's good if you're using it in salt water. So it's good to have. It provides you a little protection. I wouldn't depend on it. You know, definitely use the wrist strap. Try not to drop it. Test it before you kind of use it.